While flood seasons occur at different times of the year in different parts of the country, they all have one thing in common. When needed, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is prepared to provide emergency response and assistance activities under the Flood Control and Coastal Emergencies Appropriation authorized by Public Law 8499. When requested by a public entity, the Corps may provide technical or direct assistance. Providing and deploying flood fight supplies, such as sandbags, pumps, and expedient flood fight products, is one such way the Corps can provide supplemental direct flood fighting assistance. The key to a successful flood response is when local governments have stockpiled and maintained the necessary supplies and equipment needed to respond to typical high water events. In a flood, the stockpiled materials will allow them to quickly provide an initial flood response while additional materials and equipment are being delivered. This video will describe some of the flood fight supplies that the Corps may provide in support of local flood fight efforts. A sandbag is just that, a bag filled with sand used for protection from flooding. Properly stacked sandbags are extremely effective for diverting floodwaters around or away from critical infrastructure. Sandbags can be used to build levees, barricades, dikes, and berms to limit erosion from flooding. They can also be used to fortify existing flood risk management structures and limit the effects of sand boils. Sandbag construction is a centuries-old technique that has changed little. Bags are made from different materials, including treated burlap and plastic. They typically measure 14 inches wide and 24 inches long. Sandbags are inexpensive, but very labor-intensive in the field. If a sandbag filling machine is not available, the best practices for filling sandbags require a 3-person team. One team member will crouch down and hold open the bag to form a collar opening. The second team member will place the tip of a pointed shovel with sand into the open sandbag. Sandbags filled 1/2 to 2/3 full should generally be left untied. Tied bags filled slightly fuller have specific purposes: filling holes, holding plastic sheeting or straw bales in place, or forming barriers backed by supportive planks or aluminum sheet piles. The opening of the bag is simply folded and tucked underneath the back to allow level stacking. The third team member will transport and stockpile the filled sandbags. The Corps of Engineers has both automatic and manual sandbagging machines, however, that are available to mitigate some of the difficulty of filling sandbags on the fly. If access to the flood site is limited to boat, tractor, or helicopter, then pallets and forklifts may be needed to load and offload sandbags. Even with a sandbag filling machine, the transportation and stacking of the sandbags is still extremely labor-intensive. Remove any debris from the areas where bags are to be placed. Place the bags lengthwise and parallel to the direction of flow. Fill the low spots first before placing bags the full length of the area to be raised. Start at approximately 1 foot landward from the river or levee's edge. Fold the open end of the bag under the filled portion. The folded end of the bag should face upstream. Place succeeding bags with the bottom of the bag tightly and partially overlapping the previous bag. Offset adjacent rows or layers by 1/2 bag length to avoid continuous joints. To eliminate voids and form a tight seal, compact and shape each bag by walking on it and continue the process as each layer is placed. This flattens the top of the bag and prevents slippage between succeeding layers. Sandbags can be stacked either in single stack placement or in a pyramid shape, depending on the variables of the flood fight. Sandbags are not always effective, as water will eventually seep through the bags and finer materials like clay may leak through the seam. After use, dry sandbags can be stored for future use, while wet bags are usually disposed in a landfill as they become contaminated from floodwaters. The Corps also has super sandbags, which have a capacity of around 2,000 pounds and must be deployed by helicopter. The Corps does not maintain stockpiles of fill material, so local governments should ensure adequate stockpiles or immediate access to sufficient supplies of fill material. Sand is by far the best material for filling and shaping sandbags and becomes heavier when saturated from rain or moisture. If absolutely necessary, other materials such as silt, clay, gravel, or a mixture of these may be used. Temporary pumps are widely used by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to manage interior drainage and seepage through levees and similar flood risk management structures. The Corps uses several types of pumps, including Crisafulli, Godwin, and Gator pumps. Power Takeoff PTO-powered Crisafulli trailer pumps are driven from the PTO fitting on any tractor and are offered as 540 RPM models or 1000 RPM models. Crisafulli self-powered trailer pumps are powered by electric motors or gas, diesel, or propane-fueled engines mounted on the pump frame or by a Crisafulli power unit. Godwin dry prime pumps with vacuum priming compressors are mounted to diesel engines on highway trailers. These automatic priming centrifugal pumps are maneuverable portable trash pumps featuring a Venturi air evacuation system that allows priming from dry with suction lifts up to 28 feet. Gator pumps are steel fabricated with heavy-duty structural steel tubing and are available either as trailer-mounted power takeoff pumps or vertical centrifugal pumps. A gabion basket is a permeable membrane-lined wire basket filled with sand, riprap, or other material that can be pinned together to form a temporary flood wall or levee. They can be used to direct floodwaters around vulnerable structures. The life expectancy of gabions depends on the lifespan of the wire, not on the contents of the basket. The structure will fail when the wire fails. Gabion baskets can be stacked to increase the height of a temporary flood wall. They are extremely difficult to disassemble after a flood fight, however, due to the volume of sand needed to fill a single basket. Portadam is a temporary portable cofferdam comprising a unique freestanding steel support system and impervious fabric membrane, which eliminates the need for excavation or fill, costly pile driving equipment, or time-consuming sandbag dikes. The Portadam system consists of two main components: a welded tubular steel framework support and a flexible waterproof membrane permitting easy installation in any configuration, which can also overcome uneven bed contours. Flood fight supplies are an important component of the direct assistance the Corps of Engineers is able to provide under Public Law 8499 and when supplemental to local and state efforts. Whether technical or direct assistance is needed during a flood fight, the Corps of Engineers stands ready to support the nation.